We celebrate adaptation all the time. We just don't recognize it as such. We describe change. We describe people who encountered limits, friction, or failure and learned how to reorganize themselves without disappearing. That is not the exception to strength. That is strength viewed over time. Consider Serena Williams. Early in her career, Serena dominated women's tennis through overwhelming physical capacity, explosive power, speed, and intimidation. She won with force that bent matches quickly. But that version of strength did not last unchanged. Injuries accumulated, surgeries intervened, matches stretched longer, margins narrowed. Her career arc becomes interesting precisely after peak athletic dominance. Serena lost major finals in her early 30s, moments where the younger version of herself might have simply overpowered opponents. Later, she returned not by recreating youth, but by reorganizing her game. She shortened points, chose aggression more selectively, managed energy across matches and tournaments. Her physical ceiling lowered, but her tactical intelligence rose. She won Grand Slams later in her career, not because her body was stronger, but because her relationship to the game was more refined. That is not decline, that is maturation. What we celebrate in Serena's story is not longevity by genetics or luck. It is longevity by adaptation, strength that learned how to change shape. Now consider Nirmal Purja. Purja's achievement, climbing all 14 8,000-meter peaks in record time, was not a triumph of recklessness. It was a triumph of preparation. His success depended less on maximal output than on obsessive attention to recovery, acclimatization, sequencing, and re-entry under extreme stress. He did not ignore limits, he studied them. He did not deny risk, he negotiated with it intelligently. In environments where mistakes are fatal, adaptation is not optional, it is the price of survival. Yet people often miss the point. They see toughness. What they miss is calibration. This is what adult strength looks like when the stakes are unmistakable. Or consider the moment that quietly rewrote an entire sport, the high jump. Before the late 1960s, success meant more force, better timing, and incremental technical refinement until Dick Fosbury changed the question entirely. The Fosbury flop did not make jumpers stronger. It changed how the body related to gravity. By reorganizing technique rather than demanding more power, athletes suddenly cleared heights brute force alone could not reach. The body did not change. The strategy did. This is adaptation in its purest form, not denial of limits, but creative engagement with them. These stories endure because they expose a truth we intuitively recognize. Strength without adaptation becomes fragile. Strength with adaptation becomes durable. Peak performance is impressive, but sustained participation is meaningful. In each case, what carried the person forward was not the preservation of a past version of themselves, but the willingness to become different without becoming less. That distinction matters deeply for aging. Aging does not remove strength, it removes margins. Recovery is slower, buffers are thinner, errors cost more. In this environment, raw capacity is no longer enough. What matters is judgment. When to push, when to pause, when to recover, when to re-enter. The person who tries to preserve youth strength unchanged often becomes brittle. The person who allows strength to mature becomes resilient. Most people were never taught this transition is normal. They were taught to chase peaks, not to build arcs. We celebrate adaptation when it comes wrapped in medals, records, or innovation, but we fail to honor it in everyday bodies. An older adult who adjusts pacing and stays engaged is not praised. A person who learns how to recover from flares is not admired. Someone who returns to activity after uncertainty is rarely recognized as strong. They are often told they are slowing down. But slowing down is not the opposite of strength. Unlearning adaptation is. Our systems still reward visible output over invisible skill. They glorify effort while ignoring judgment. They treat adaptation as a consolation prize instead of the main event. Strength that peaks once is impressive. Strength that reorganizes across decades is extraordinary. The long arc is not about holding on. It is about staying in the game, learning how to remain capable as conditions change. preserving identity without insisting on sameness, letting wisdom take over when raw capacity fades. This is not settling, it is refinement. And refinement is what aging has been asking for all along. The long arc is not about holding on, it is about staying in motion. If we continue to measure strength only by output, aging will always look like loss. If we learn to recognize adaptation as strength, aging becomes a different kind of challenge, one that can be met with skill, dignity, and agency. We already know how to celebrate this kind of strength. We just need to learn how to teach it, not only to athletes and adventurers, but to everyone living inside time.